How's it, guys? Welcome back to Rex to Rides, where we are still turning your hard-earned cash into unfinished projects and broken dreams. So, unfinished project. We've got this going to be a quick video on how I figured out. Now, remember, I'm an amateur. Hey, I'm like a complete amateur. I'm figuring this out as I go. As you can see, the Isuzu I've done. There's a little dent in the bodywork here somewhere. You can catch it in the light. That hasn't been addressed. And then over here, let's see if you can get it in the light. There was a dent here that I did, but I did it with a body filler, and I didn't flatten it properly, and I didn't know that it was crowning and everything. And that's something you only see when you get the paint on. Over here, there's another little dent. It's painted in that, so I can try and pull that on a paintless dent. Here is also what looks like a dent, but actually it's not the correct. It's not your bondo, your body filler, flattened properly. So I've got this little bonnet, or hood as you guys call it, I need to do. Now, this looks like something that could be pulled with a paintless dent remover, but it's right on the seam, so I don't think those sticky things are going to really hold. And then here is one with an actual crease and rust and everything in. So, yeah, bearing that in mind, you are probably going to be going down to steel on your project car. I've gone down to steel quite a few times. And you're going to probably be pulling dents that, well, there's double panels, so you just can't get to it. Yes, you can cut a hole in. No, you can't, it all depends, really. So I decided to experiment. And what I've got here is I thought, okay, let's try to do but now your spot welding machine, so you get a spot welding machine that puts a tack on, it's got a slide hammer built in, and then you pull it out, and then you crack it, and then next one, but that costs quite a bit. And so I went on to Takealot, which is our local sort of Amazon or whatever, and I got this paintless dent removal kit for 350 Rand, which is less than $20. And I thought, well, it's like, can sometimes be like a glorified flea market. So some of the stuff you get is good, some of the stuff you get is complete shit. But man, I was very impressed. This is solid stainless steel, and it's got a really nice little attachment here. I mean, if you got a bearing that's stuck in somewhere or something, you can always just weld a sort of M6 bolt on that will slip in there, and you can whack it out. This comes off, that comes off. It's got a little handle that goes in the back, and all of it is really, you can feel it's good quality stainless steel. And as far as slide hammers go, it's quite small, it's quite compact, but man, what a piece of kit. For 350 bucks, I thought that is an absolute bargain. So this is one of those moments when I was very, very happy to get something online that, well, turned out to be quality. Yeah, it's quite heavy. And for those of you who do metal detecting, that weighs probably twice as much as a metal detector, and which is not saying a lot, but anyway. So it comes a little bag of plastic fittings. You can see you glue gun the thing on, you pull it out. And while we can try and play with those, so you can put a plastic fitting, don't necessarily have to slide it, you can just stick that on there and pull it out. And then it comes with a glass sucker cup, which hey, this is actually quite good. That pulls and holds. So we do quite a bit of glazing, so when you want to pull a window out or break it out or something, I'll probably use that. I think this is designed for bigger dents that you can just stick it on and give it a good pull here and here and here. So what it doesn't have is a tap down hammer, and so I mentioned earlier, there's a nylon little thing like that with a nylon head that you actually just use to tap down, because what happens when you get a dent, and you can actually see it very nicely here. Let's see if you can get it in the light there. So you see what's happening around the edge of the dent is that when the dent happens, it doesn't just go in around the edges, it comes up. So it's sort of like goes up and then into the dent and then up. and that around the dent is called a crown. And so you're going to get a bit of crowning. We're going to talk about the crowning, and you know, that's something you have to address. But there's a tap down hammer. We don't need a nylon tap down hammer because we're not working with paintless dent removal. It's a little hammer that works. So I think before we continue, we're probably going to need a dent, right? So here we go. We've made a dent. Can't really see it because I've cleverly sanded it. There you go. So you can see around this is a crown over there, and then you got the dent in the middle, and that is what we're going to try and pull out. So I looked at this head and went through the hardware store and thought, what would work on that? And turns out I walked past the rivet section and got a little modified pop rivet. Of course, it's a bit long to get in there, so I had to rivet it up a bit. And then it was a bit wide to slide in there, so I had to grind down a shape like that. And now that slides in there. If it doesn't slide in there, we're going to have to modify. There you go. Pops right in. That's a bit of a crap one, but we'll deal with that. Let's get another one. And of course, this is quite tricky to do with one hand in a camera. There you go. Yep. Let's do that on the film. So you can get a bolt or anything in there, and you just need to weld or attach that to something. So the best for this is going to be the TIG welder, mostly because you don't want a lot of steel going in. The TIG can put a blast of current in just to tack it on. That's all we're going to do is just tack that on. We don't need it solidly welded, we just need it on. Now, with a rivet, the head is aluminium, but this is stainless steel or whatever. Doesn't matter to the MIG because you're going to put it on the steel settings and then we're going to go for it. So just on your MIG, I'm going to actually move my mouth close to the microphone because it can get quite loud. We are going to switch it on and run through. First of all, we are running a red tip, which is for steel. So we've got that out. It's extended probably 3/8 of an inch. And so that's not for aluminium. And we're going to run through our settings very quickly on this. So I've worked out that 30 amps is a nice setting to have. This TIG might be a bit more advanced than your normal TIG because it can do aluminium also, but we are doing steel. So the 2T40 is the trigger mode. That's fine on 2T. We do need it in DC because we are not welding aluminium. That's pulse or straight. We don't want pulse, we just want it straight. We're putting in one straight blast and we're going to keep it on DC. So that's that. We just want the current to go through once and hit the steel. So I have worked out that 30 amps seems to be the golden number, but this has an upslope and a downslope. This is so that you can control the heat using the trigger. It's quite a complex process, but we don't want anything. We just want one amount of 30 amps going into the steel. So we don't want any upslope. Our start amps must be 30. Our pre-flow is on 1. Remember, the argon that runs through is also to cool down the tip of the TIG. So our post-flow, which means when we've finished, must be 2 seconds. And here we got 30 and 0 down slope, and our peak cam's 30. So now when we pull that trigger, it's going to let the gas come through here for 1 second. It's going to hit it with 30 amps, and then when you pull your finger off the trigger, it's going to flow for 2 seconds just to keep everything cool, and of course remove the oxygen from the whole equation. So we are pretty much set. Now I've practiced a bit, and I'm quite surprised that it took very little practice. In fact, took it took more time to figure out what the correct amperage is. So what I like about these is that you can reuse them. So what I do here, let's make sure all the stuff we don't need is out of the way. We will need the slide hammer. Make sure you got yourself a glove on. And of course, at this point, you want your helmet on. And your glove on, what I do find is it's actually easier to hold that in the clamp. Get it on the dent and then hit it. So what we're going to do is try and get it on. Any more than 30 amps just seem to have, because you've got to get it on once, twice. You've got to burn it a bit. And I've got to burn through with anything higher. So practice on a piece of steel first, or body panel, because you're going to be doing this on body panels. We hold it in place and we're ready to rock and roll. So as you can see, that took a few shots to try and get it, but it's on. I'm going to try and do another one. What I like about reusing them is that you end up with a bit more bulk here at the bottom. And we're going to pop this one here. Now, what's happened is you can see I've actually have quite a few goes at it. And I try to do this with just put a tack weld on and then clamp the steel, the earth on here. And the minute I got that on, it just fell over. So that didn't work. What I've just been doing stainless steel, so I've got a gas shield in. You don't need a gas shield for this. So you can put a smaller cup size on. It's a 1.6 rod and 1.6 tungsten bit. So you don't need a gas lens or anything. It's probably easier just to get it in underneath the earth clamp. But we're a bit lazy to do that. So just for the purposes of the video, what we're going to do is hop that on there and give it a whirl. Now I'm not going to try too much, just it's a bit on there. That can go. We don't need that right now. And as you can see, it's actually coming up. And I can put quite a bit into this before that breaks off. I in fact have not managed to break one off yet with the slide hammer. So it has risen. The only thing about this is that the threads aren't really tight, but I think it's just for quick assembly. So you just got to check to see that your threads are good, just so you can take that out, and let's in fact do that. Then I've got to tell you, bang for buck on the slide hammer, 100%. Tap down tool, we can get anywhere. This is gold. So I'm just going to screw. I have never ever even done that, and that just shows how easy it is. You can give it a good pull. Now, like I said, remember you're getting a crown. That crown is also just going to rise as you are lifting it. So check your body line. Take the crown away. Give it another pull. See you come up there. Remember what you're trying to do here is you've got this or you've got that. If your body filler is too thick, you are going to, it's going to crack, it's going to fail. It doesn't matter what you do, it's going to fail. So you actually want your body work to be as smooth as possible before you start with your prime or anything. So you really are just lowering your high spots and you're bringing your dent out, and you got to make sure that that sits flush and you don't have that crowning, because when you get to cutting it away, it's going to be hell on earth to sand down. So we're going to give that one more tug. And that is really a lot of high spot, which is winner chicken dinner. What's nice about this, you can just break this off and reuse it. Simple like that. Sand that down. So that we sand that off with a grinder. We get the surface ready. Maybe a 60 or 80 for your body filler to stick. Hit it with your rasp and job done. Guys, if you like this video, if it's helped you, please like and subscribe. Thank you.